This is Bishop Michael Burbidge, and you are listening to the Walk Humbly Podcast.
Welcome to the Walk Humbly Podcast. I'm Tom Shakely with the Catholic Diocese of Arlington, joined here in our St. Clair studio by Bishop Michael Burbidge.
Great to be with you, Tom, and our listeners. We're recording on the feast day of St. John Capistrano, who is the patron of military chaplains. And we are very proud as a diocese to continue a long-standing tradition of providing priests from our diocese to serve in the Archdiocese for the Military Services USA, where there is a great need for priests, chaplains. And currently, I think the diocese with the largest number of priests in the Archdiocese for the Military Services. We have eight of our priests serving as chaplains for the military.
What a gift.
It really is. And it's the generosity of our priests. And, it makes me very proud to know that we're able to contribute to the responding to the spiritual and pastoral needs of all those who are so generously serving in our country. And they all those in the military, and of course their families who do so with great sacrifice. So knowing that our priests are where those in military service are and receiving the spiritual nourishment they need is really a great gift, and thankful to all of our priests serving our country and our church.
That's beautiful. Well, Bishop, I know you recently celebrated an amazing Jubilarian Mass here at the Cathedral, right?
It's really one of my favorite Masses. All Masses are favorite, but this is really a special Mass, I should say. We celebrate a Mass for a married couple celebrating 25 or 50 plus years of faithful married love. I always get the number of years that are represented. And this year I was told that in the cathedral that day, 8,550 years of faithful married love was in that cathedral. And I have to say to you, Tom, it is really inspiring, like to stand, at the Embo there and to look out and to see that visible witness of married couples being true and faithful to the promises that they made on the day that they were received and celebrated the sacrament of marriage, remaining true to all they promised the Lord and one another. And I'm sure in good times and bad times, in sickness and in health, in times of blessings and in times of sorrows, but with the grace of God and their own holiness persevered. And what a beautiful sign. Like we always say, marriage is a sacrament, so it's a sign. Married couples are a visible sign of the love that Christ has for his bride, the church. So when we look at a married couple, literally we should say, do you see how they love one another? That's the way Christ loves us. A love that's faithful forever and life-giving. And so we thank married couples throughout our diocese, not just our Jubilarians, but all our married couples who day in and day out renew that yes to the beautiful vocation God has entrusted to them, and for blessing the church with the wonderful gift of holy families.
Beautiful, Bishop. Well, I know you've got a few other events coming up. We're going to talk about some of the great things in the diocese, but in particular, I think you're going to be celebrating a Mass for homeschoolers,
Yeah,
right?
we do that twice a year, and it's always a joy for me to gather with our homeschool families. We are so very proud of our Catholic faith, our Catholic education, and we know we can provide that education in various forms and in various ways. We have our own parish schools, our diocesan high schools, our religious education program, independent Catholic schools, and of course homeschool families for whom I have great respect and admiration that they take that responsibility of being the first teachers of their children, especially in the ways of faith. And we learned and we know that that involves a lot of hard work and dedication. And so we celebrate this homeschool Mass as a way of thanking, commending our homeschool families, assuring them of our prayers and our support, and praying with them that their children, like all of our children entrusted to us, are growing in their relationship with the Lord and their love for His church.
It's an amazing, gift that you do this, Bishop. I know I just saw a chart the other day. I think it's one of those kind of post-COVID effects in our society. I saw nationwide, not just Catholic or religious homeschooling, but homeschooling in general, I think has gone up like something like 10% at least since COVID, and it stayed there.
Wow.
So it's a national phenomenon.
And I think a lot of parents learned during COVID, when the kids were home all day, that they were working with them in their education. I think it made all of us aware of the homeschool families who do this all day. It's a great responsibility and a great work. And I'm sure the Lord blesses all their efforts, and take this opportunity at the same time to thank all of our Catholic educators and faith formation directors, catechists who partner with our parents in helping their children throughout our diocese in the education, faith formation of their sons and daughters.
Well, Bishop, last we spoke, Pope Leo XIV was just about to issue his first apostolic exhortation called Dilexi. It's the first magisterial document of his papacy, a teaching document. And now the world, since we talked, has gotten a glimpse into this document. They've seen it. It's been released, and we've seen a little bit of the heart of Leo.
Oh, sure. And, on that day, I encouraged all the faithful to read the document, to read the exhortation in its entirety, not just a summary. I'm sure all the faithful in our diocese have already done that, and I'll be sending a quiz out just to make sure. I'm only kidding. But yeah, we see that Pope Leo is calling us to recognize that Christ must always be at the heart of everything we do. What a way to grow in holiness, to remember what we're doing, why we're doing it, and for whom we are doing it. And so Christ always at the heart. We don't do it for recognition or applause. Pope Leo reminds us that Christ and his church call each of us, and this is at the center of this document, to seek Christ, not in the face of the poor, not only to serve the poor, but to see the face of Christ. They reveal Christ to us. It's an important document because, as you mentioned, it's the first in-depth look at the pastoral mind of Pope Leo. And I think we know where he's coming from. He speaks in continuity with the church and its tradition. And everything that we see in this document, we have heard from saints and those who have gone before us, but expressed in Pope Leo's style. He speaks, Tom, of poverty in two senses, material and spiritual. We know there's a spiritual poverty too, of where people, there is just such a void in their life because they are lacking
I think that's something
relationship with the Lord.
It's challenging, maybe, especially as Americans, to kind of remember that, right? That poverty in a material sense is an absolute reality that we must address, but spiritual poverty is in some senses even more grave.
Exactly, and so our response, is on both of those levels, and he challenges us, to avoid the traps that we can fall into in our as individuals, as families, as a society. Most especially consumerism, materialism. Are we living? Because we're all called to live poverty, simplicity. To not be consumed with just more and more and more and more material things, but to know that while we can have the necessities of life and even some of the things that we get to enjoy, that's fine if we see them as gifts from God and we use them properly, but not to be exaggerated in our need for them. We have to not find our happiness, our fulfillment in the things of this world, but rather in a relationship. And we grow closer. When we serve the poor, when we respond to their needs, we know we do it for Christ, and that deepens our relationship with him.
That's beautiful, Bishop. Well, thank you very much, and we'll link to the document, to Dilexi, in our show notes here, and I certainly encourage people to read it. Well, Bishop, we're coming up pretty fast on Election Day. November 4th is Election Day here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, nationally. There's a lot at stake when it comes to especially the culture of life.
Yeah, there is a lot at stake, and I'm sure I am like most of our listeners. There's one part of us that we can't wait to this election day is over, because sadly we're bombarded by ads and commercials that unfortunately do not, for the most part, convey this is who I am and this is what my position is, but rather attack.
Right.
Tear down others. It's so negative. It's not what the people want. We want to know who you are, what you stand for, and what you will do, and allow us to make that prayerful, informed decision. But that's sadly not the way it is. But we've spoken about this before, but it's important to address again that this November, here in our Commonwealth, every seat in the House of Delegates is on the ballot. Our Office of Marriage, Family, and Respect Life has put out a simple one-page flyer that conveys what is at stake. The lawmakers we elect here's the key, right? That the lawmakers we elect in November will decide whether a fundamental right to reproductive freedom amendment is advanced or stopped.
Isn't that an amazing name, by the way?
Yeah, isn't it amazing? It kind of deceives the fact
so-called
that,
reproductive freedom.
Right. So it's the abortion amendment, basically,
Yeah.
where there's what is at stake is, God forbid, people, voting whether we will legalize abortion in our Commonwealth, because that decision now is back at the states. I think that goes far beyond even what Roe versus Wade allowed.
Right.
It would threaten parental consent, allow abortions up to birth, threaten religious liberty, and force taxpayers to fund abortion. So who we elect is critical. And so I encourage all the faithful out there to be faithful citizens and to elect those who will protect the unborn, the sacredness of life at every stage.
Thank you, Bishop. We'll link to, of course, the Virginia Catholic Conference, the VCC, that has good election resources we've discussed before. We'll also link to that great one-page flyer that conveys so much and the importance of voting for pro-life delegates. Well, friends, if you're listening to the Walk Humbly podcast, whether you're listening here in the Diocese of Arlington or from distant parts, we invite you to consider signing up right now for text from Bishop Burbidge and the Walk Humbly podcast. You can text Walk Humbly. That's all one phrase, even though it's two words. So Walk Humbly, no space, to the number 84576. We will keep you in the loop in the months and in the days and months to come with periodic texts, with new episodes of the Walk Humbly podcast and occasional, very occasional, but timely messages and statements from Bishop Burbidge.
All right. This is the first time we've had a commercial here in our podcast.
It's good to have sponsored content that comes from right in the show, right?
But thanks for emphasizing. We're not going to haunt people or overwhelm them, but just key, like you said, key moments.
Exactly. So again, consider texting Walk Humbly, one phrase, to 84576. Well, Bishop, Rally takes place this Sunday, October 26th at Bishop O'Connell High School right here in Arlington. What a great annual event. It's a great opportunity for young people. I know we've talked about this last year. I'm always excited to talk about it. I wish I was a young person to be able to go, participate the way they can. But there's so much. There's, you're celebrating Mass. There's Eucharistic adoration, speakers, entertainers, breakout sessions, all sorts of things.
I love these kind of events, and Rally in particular. Rally, and we also have Bash, but Rally's, bringing our young people together to see young people from all around the diocese together in one place, celebrating our Catholic faith, enjoying and having fun, enjoying each other's company. It is just such you think about it, on a beautiful fall day, on a Sunday, young people have all kinds of options, but they choose to do this. And it's an encouragement for young people to live their faith and to reassure them, you're not alone. There's lots of young people just like you who want to live your faith. We have a great keynote speaker who will inspire our young people to live their faith. There's prayer, there's breakout sessions, there's adoration, there's all kinds of games and music and more.
It's like community.
It's
right?
a rally.
Yeah.
It's a rally. So my young friends who are attending, I can't wait to be with you.
It's so good. And as a reminder, if you're listening to this, whether you are attending or can attend this year or not, it's always good to sign up for updates from our diocesan events calendar on arlingtondiocese.org. You can go to the events calendar and you can even add those so they show right up in your calendar if you want. And for Rally and certain other events like that, you re-register for them through your parish. So you can always speak to your pastor for more information. Well, coming up very soon, November 2nd through the 8th, is National Vocation Awareness Week, Bishop. This is a big deal. I think it's always good to consider what we're doing with our lives, right, at whatever age and stage. But National Vocation Awareness Week is a great time to think about this and to reflect on kind of where we came from.
Yeah, exactly. The church throughout the year designates certain weeks to focus on a specific theme or initiative, and so it's we're always should be talking about our vocations and the response to God's call. But it's great to highlight a week. It gives us an opportunity to convey to others the witness of our priests and deacons, our consecrated women religious and men, the various ways that God calls individuals to lead in the church. We send forth our seminarians to tell their stories as well. And it's a reminder that God does have, especially to our young people, God knows you. God knows you by name. He has a plan for you. And your call is to discern in prayer and silence with the help of priests or those you trust. Where is God leading you? What is it that He is asking of you? And when we do those things, God talks to us. God speaks to our hearts. He shows us the path. And there's many ways to live out the call to holiness. We just talked about how married couples, that's their vocation. That's how they live out holiness. But some will be called in God's mysterious plan to live out holiness by giving their whole life to the church as priests or consecrated religious. And so it's a beautiful week to, first of all, pray for all of our priests and consecrated religious and seminarians, to pray for one another, whatever our call in life is, that we do so, seeing that is our path to holiness, and to pray for those discerning, that they will hear God's voice. Because we know when we say yes to what God's asking, that's the path to holiness, and it's a path to life, actually, now and forever.
Bishop, could you share a little bit about your own vocation? Did you always know that you wanted to be a priest?
No, not really. I really only began thinking about being a priest when I was in high school. And I think part of that was because I went to a high school where there were so many priests on the faculty. So my friends and I, we saw the priests every day, and they were very involved. Think about it, we had like 20 diocesan priests in my high school. But we saw them; they were involved in our lives, and we loved the priests. And so I guess you couldn't help but to think, wow, that looks like a beautiful way of living your life and serving God. And so I was kind of, thinking about, but I didn't have anyone, like no one in my family ever entered a seminary or religious life or anything like that. But I always tell the story that I remember when I was a junior in high school and I'm walking down the hallway and one of the priests called me over. Michael, can I talk to you for a second? Okay. And he said, did you ever think about being a priest? And I was kind of, but not really. So I said, not really, Father. He goes, will you do me a favor? Would you at least just think about it? Because I think you'd be a good priest. Well, Tom, from that point on, I could not stop thinking about becoming a priest.
Wow.
And what I love about that priest, I was only a junior in high school, so I thought the rest of my junior year and the rest of my senior year, every time I saw that priest coming, I have to run the other way. Like I didn't want to.
He's going to ask for follow-up, right?
I got this question, but I could never stop thinking about it. And I really got to the point, and this is what happens. You get to the point where you realize you're not going to be happy doing anything else unless you decide or discern, is this what God is asking? So that's why you go to seminary. You go to seminary doesn't mean you're going to be a priest, but you're taking the next step to discern. And the way it worked out in my life, and this is not true for everyone, but I was young. I was only a year or so out of high school. I went to seminary, and I was there, I would say, like 6 months or so. And I kind of knew I was going to be a priest.
Yeah.
Like I just felt
right off
joy, happiness. It's like, I guess, when couples meet each other, right?
Yeah.
This is the one, right? I felt like this is what God is asking. I never looked back to it. And after 40 some years of serving the Lord as a priest, I'm convinced that's what God has asked me to do, and I found great joy in serving Him and His church. The one thing about that priest too, he was there when I was ordained a priest. at the ordination. And he was also there when I was ordained a bishop.
What a gift.
I know.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it was really just powerful to have him as part of my life in
the
such a way.
importance, too, of that man, that priest speaking up, because you think about how many times that something might be on our heart, but we kind of just, for whatever reason, hold back a little bit. And it's like, no, God wants you to speak.
And to our young people discerning, don't forget, sometimes God speaks to you through other people. That's what he did for me.
I think something too there, Bishop, as we talk about National Vocation Awareness Week is really appropriate. I think a lot of people do think of that word discernment as purely kind of interior, purely maybe a matter of prayer, almost silent reflection. But you mentioned also, that actually going into seminary can be a part of discernment. Like it's not just interior, it's exterior. Yeah. It's not just personal. It's also like taking action.
That's right. You got to take concrete steps, and I always speak to our young adults, especially, that you cannot be a lifetime discerner. Like there comes the point you got to make a decision. Because sometimes, maybe it's human nature, but we want every I dotted and every T crossed. And whether it's married life or religious life, it's like, listen, there's going to be the moment where not every question is going to be answered, but there becomes a moment where you surrender and just say, it's okay. I've done everything. I've prayed. I've discerned. I believe I'm doing what God's asking. I don't have all the answers. I don't know the future, but I trust the Lord. And you have to surrender. That helped me a little bit when I was a priest. There was a newly ordained priest in my parish when he was the first person I talked about thinking about becoming a priest. And he was very patient. He guided me. He gave me some concrete things to do. He said, but let's set a date. Let's be reasonable. Let's not say tomorrow, but let's set a date. When you're going to come back to me and tell me what you're going to do? I think we looked out 4 or 5 months. And he said, okay, so let's. But that was very helpful because there was a sense of, okay, by this date, I'm either going to do this or not. I'm not just going to keep it an open-ended question, And then, like he said, then the seminary is just a next stage in discerning. Right? So thanks for raising it.
That's beautiful, Bishop. Thank you. And Bishop, also, there are going to be 2 masses coming up for, of course, it's already that time, All Saints and All Souls. On Saturday, November 1st, will mark the Solemnity of All Saints, which this year, a little unusual. It's not a holy day of obligation because it falls on a Saturday. But you will celebrate Mass at St. John the Apostle in Leesburg on Sunday, November 2nd. And then Monday, November 3rd, you will celebrate Mass in commemoration for all the faithful departed for All Souls Day at Fairfax Memorial Park Cemetery.
Right. These are 2 very powerful days for all of us because they remind us, speaking about the call, right? That's our call. It's a universal call. We're called to be saints. And so on this earthly journey, that's what our mission must be, because one day, as All Souls reminds us, we will be called home. This is just a journey on earth. This is just a journey. One day we will die. We will be called home to God. We don't know when. And so every day is that opportunity to try to be a saint so that we're ready and prepared when the Lord calls us to himself. And of course, on All Souls Day, what a beautiful privilege. I love celebrating Mass there at the cemetery. It's just a beautiful kind of that visible reminder to pray for those. We continue to pray for those who have gone before us, marked with the sign of faith. We continue to pray for their eternal happiness and God's love and mercy to be bestowed upon them. So yes, these are two beautiful days to celebrate.
And we'll of course share photos from those afterwards on our diocesan media galleries. Well, Bishop, questions from the faithful. It's been a week or two. We took a little break from these, but we of course always welcome questions for Bishop Burbidge. You can email info@arlingtondiocese.org, or you can reach out to us on our social platforms. Today's question comes from Elizabeth at St. Isidore the Farmer in Orange. She asks, or she writes, when God gives someone a special talent, such as singing well or playing an instrument well, how do we go about using those talents for God and avoid getting prideful, like if people tell us we did really well, for instance?
Yeah, right, exactly. That's a great question. And when God has given us all unique talents and gifts and abilities, and that's what they are. They're gifts. So what keeps us from being prideful is the fact that we thank God We didn't earn this gift, right? We didn't deserve it necessarily. It was given to us by God, whether it's to sing or to dance or to play a sport or to draw or to write, whatever. This is a gift that God has given to us. And he expects us to use those gifts to bring him glory and to serve one another. And so that's always our prayer. But we should enjoy what we're doing. If God gave us the gift to sing or to act, then we enjoy doing it. And we enjoy being in the play or in the orchestra or the choir or anything like that. It's gifts for us to enjoy. But just to remind ourselves, it's a short little prayer we can say every day. Lord, what I'm offering you today, playing this sport or being in the choir or whatever, is for your glory. And pray God my witness will help others, or just something like that. And then when you get complimented, it's the right response when you get complimented is thank you.
That's right.
That's all you need to say, right? You don't say, oh, no, it's not me. Oh, no. No, it's like, thank you. That's humility, right? That's humility to say thank you because you're saying to yourself, that's by the grace of God, right? By the grace of God, I performed well. So, but it's okay to say thank you. That's not being prideful. As long as we're always mindful that the Lord is the source of all good gifts. Not just as we approach Thanksgiving Day, we become very mindful of that God is, but it's really every day that we thank God for the gifts that are ours.
Well, thank you, Bishop. That's encouraging.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Do you have any final thoughts for us?
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. And it's a beautiful time of year, and hoping you're enjoying God's creation, God's beauty, being refreshed and renewed as we continue to walk humbly with our God. Thank you for listening to the Walk Humbly Podcast. Make sure you check out more episodes and all the podcasts our diocese offers on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and our diocesan website, arlingtondiocese.org. You can also follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Bishop Burbidge, where I provide a short gospel reflection each morning, and on Instagram at Bishop Michael Burbidge. Stay up to date with news, event information, and inspirational content by subscribing to our e-newsletter at arlingtondiocese.org.